Hello, everybody. I was tagged for the DNF book tag by Mr. Alex Nieves. So, we're doing this. Let's talk about it. Alright, so first book tag time, and the question number 1 is, do you DNF? And the answer is, yeah, I'm not gonna make myself read a book that I don't like. I don't tend to DNF frequently, but it is something I'm gonna do. If I'm reading a book and if it's a chore, then I'm gonna DNF it. One thing that kind of slows down my DNFing a bit is how many series I read. So there might be a bad entry to a series that I still like, and I'll tend to push through it if the author has proven that he's a very good author. But it's why one of my only DNFs of the year is a standalone. But if I'm not reading a book, or if in general, if there's like multiple books in a series I don't like in a row, I will for sure stop. Question 2 is, if you DNF a book, does it count toward the books read for a month? And the answer to that is that it depends. If I read 400 pages of a 700-page book, I think 400 pages enough that I'm going to say, like, yeah, I'm counting that. But if I read, like, 2 chapters and I'm just like, yeah, I don't like the writing style of this, so we're just going to move on, then I'm not going to count that. If I'm doing a video, I'm going to mention, yeah, I didn't finish this, but I do count it if I read a significant amount of their book. And 3, is there a difference between a DNF and just putting it down for a bit? There absolutely is. DNF is, I'm not planning to finish this ever. Like, you can come back to me in 40 years, I still probably won't have finished it. Putting it down for a bit is, I don't feel like reading this right now, but I will want to read it for in the future. Maybe it's just like, the tone you don't want to read right now. Like, if you want a lighter read and it's like a super heavy, dense book. That being said, I don't tend to put it down for a bit. Usually if I put down a book, it stays put down. Question number 4 is, what popular book have you DNF'd? And the answer to that is Best Served Cold by Joe Abercrombie. Actually, a few popular books, but the most recent one was Best Served Cold by Joe Abercrombie. I read about 54% of it, about 300 pages, and I was kind of uninterested in what's going on. It's a revenge story. I'm going to end up talking about it more in a video coming up. That some of you may get mad at me for, but that's okay. I was already kind of uninterested, and then there was a sequence of events that just made me really, really frustrated, and I was like, screw it, this is a standalone, I don't need to make myself finish this, so I put it down. I picked up a John Gwynne book, but later I picked up The Heroes, and The Heroes is great, as is the rest of Joe Abercrombie's books. I mean, Best Served Cold is a well-written book, it's just one I really didn't like at all. What book do you wish you had DNF'd? Book 1 of Throne of Glass. I read this a long time ago. I was in high school, pretty early in high school, and I read book 1 of Throne of Glass, and I was like, yeah, that wasn't very good. And then I sunk cost fallacied my way all the way to book 5 before I finally gave up. I should have given up after, like, chapter 2. I don't like that series at all. Reading 5 Throne of Glass books, because I actually finished book 5, and then I'm not picking up 6. 6 wasn't out at the time. And then when 6 came out, I was like, yeah, screw that. But reading 5 Throne of Glass books may be the most baffling decision that past me ever made. Didn't really like any of them, or much about it. I don't know why I read it. And do you ever attempt to reread a DNF? Has this ever been successful for you? I haven't. I know, technically, well, it depends if you count, like, DNFing after chapter 1. I remember a long time ago I read, chapter 1 of the Kingkiller of Name of the Wind, and I was like, yeah, I don't feel like reading this right now. But then obviously I come back later, and I've read that series, I think, 3 times now, which is more times than I should have read it, but still, Name of the Wind is definitely a book I really enjoy. But have I ever gotten to, like, 50% of the way through a book, decided I don't like this book, and then got back and completed it? I have not. I have too many books I'm excited to read. I'm not going to read a book that I know I dislike enough that I put it down. Um, what do uh what do you do with the books you DNF? That kind of depends. If it's just like book one of a series and I'm just not going to read more from the author again, I'd probably donate it to like a local library. But in Best Served Cold Case, I actually kept it because I'm a completionist and want to have all the first law books. So it depends if it's an added one to a series or just like the first time I'm trying an author and I'm like, okay, I'm done with the author. Also, I'm going back, and it's which book do you DNF'd? I maybe wish I DNF'd Lightbringer like halfway through book 4 and just not read book 4 and 5. Book 5 was, I like most of book 5. I don't know. I'll say it was worth reading still, but barely. Do you choose more or less risky titles because of your stance on DNF? No, no matter what my stance on DNF was, I choose the book that I think I'm the most excited for and I think I'll like. I don't read books. Well, I listen to Wizards for Rule, but that was like the backup book. As the main book I'm reading, I don't pick up books that I'm expecting not to like. I'm pretty much always trying to pick the book I'll like the most and that I'm the most excited for. So whether I DNF'd super easily, like if I just didn't love a book, or didn't DNF at all, I would probably pick up the same books. And I'm not going to tag 5 YouTube buddies because this tag has been a while, and most of them have already been tagged. But I am going to tag. I'm going to mispronounce some names here. I'm going to tag Sheik. I was going to tag Chase, but I can't because Alex already did. Damn it, Alex. And I'm going to tag OG Garbage Tea, who's a hilarious booktuber who his editing self makes fun of himself, and I would absolutely recommend you check it out. So that was my first book tag. I answered the questions. I guess that's how this works. Don't hate me for not liking Best Served Cold. Bye.